Welcome to the Rec Room, episode 6. We've been gone a few weeks now. I think 2 or 3 weeks since we've been in here. Haven't been completely inactive though. I did a couple other podcasts, just trying to branch out, kind of touch other bases and stuff like that. Hit up other people's shows, so that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. It's a lot different when you're having conversations with multiple people. I just feel like that just goes so much smoother. It goes so much longer without any effort at all. We're talking this lens to all, I don't know, 17 people watching right now. Definitely sometimes I struggle to get to 30 minutes. So that was cool. But we're back here. This is where I love to be. I'm excited to get talking. We've got a lot to discuss. We're not going to touch on some of the stuff that I missed while I was gone. We already know who the NBA champs are, who the NHL champs are, all that stuff. Congrats to those teams. We're going to go MLB to start this show. We're at the halfway point right now. All-Star Week is upon us. It's one of the most exciting times in baseball. I love All-Star Week. I love the Derby. I love the game. It's always been a big thing in my house, in my family. It was something me and my pop loved. In fact, we went to the 2017 All-Star game in Miami and the Home Run Derby, and that was just an insane experience. Aaron Judge won the Home Run Derby, if I remember right, and I think the American League won the 2. Pitbull and Kesha performed, but it was just a crazy experience. It was dope to be in the midst, in the presence of all that greatness, all those Hall of Fame type players and stuff like that. Plus, I got to share it with my pop. Obviously, rest in peace to the legend, the man that I love more than anyone on this planet. But it, to this day, is still the greatest day of my life. And we are here. We are at All-Star Week. It's the halfway point. So we're just going to talk baseball. We're going to talk, we'll say, mid-season awards right now. Obviously, that's not an actual thing, but just kind of where we're at this point in this season. I really think that there's some surprises, and obviously there's some that aren't. The MVPs, to me, it's no question, and it's the same 2 guys that I feel like it's been for the last few years. Barring injury, Aaron Judge is not only the best player in the American League, but he's probably the best player in baseball right now. Hitting over 360, second in home runs, second in RBIs, first in on base, slugging, everything you could freaking think of. This guy has just the lead in every single category, with Cal Raleigh kind of right behind him. So I think Aaron Judge is my first half MVP. I hate saying that. He's a Yankee. There's nothing I hate more than watching those guys succeed, but it is what it is. And in the National League, without question, Shohei Ohtani, he's about to start pitching again. I know he's pitched a couple times, 1 inning here and there, but he's going to start legitimately pitching. And once he does that, there's just no one like him. The guy steals bases. He hits homers. He throws strikeouts. I mean, what doesn't he do? We've never seen a unicorn like this on a baseball field. And like I said, barring injury, he's definitely the best player in the league on that side of the ball. Cy Young Award. That one gets a little trickier. There's definitely a lot of pitchers having phenomenal years right now. I actually talked about it on a podcast the other day. I mean, I remember when Pedro Martinez sub-2 ERA was just insane. I mean, you could have doubled his ERA in 2000 or 2001. I can't remember the year when he was 176, leading everyone by a mile. That year, if you doubled him, he still would have beat Roger Clemens for the ERA title. And I hadn't seen anything like that in a while. And now you've got 3 or 4 guys that are sub-2 ERAs going on in baseball right now. So it's really close at the top. In the American League, it's Scoobs again. He won it last year. He's the best pitcher in baseball, hands down. He's on the best team in baseball for a reason. I mean, this guy's lights out. His Ks to walks are 11-1. That's insane. If you just average 11 Ks per 9 innings, you're ridiculous. But the fact that he's not walking anybody, I can't remember a time we've seen this kind of dominance. I mean, like I said, it's very Pedro-esque, and Pedro is who I have as the greatest pitcher of all time. We don't need to debate that. I know there's going to be a lot of people that ain't happy with that or say that I'm just saying that because he was a Red Sox, but he was an Expo first. And honestly, when you consider the era and what he did at the time, there was nothing like him. Let's not forget, speaking about All-Star Week, in the All-Star game back then, he faced Sammy Sosa, he faced Mark McGwire, he faced Larry, the Hall of Fame plethora list of guys he faced, and he struck out 6 consecutive batters in that All-Star game. I've never seen a better performance than that. So, but what Tariq Skubal is doing for sure is just out of this world. He's right there in strikeouts at second behind Gary Crotchet, my guy. Shouts to him. But he leads the league in wins. He's on the best team in baseball. So again, if he doesn't get hurt, it's his to own. The National League is a little more interesting. Paul Skeens is having a year to remember. I mean, this guy is about to get an $800 million contract. It's insane how young he is for how dominant he is. But he's not winning. That Pittsburgh Pirates team is a joke. They can't hit the ball. They have a bottom 5 batting average in the league. He has as many quality starts as just about anyone, and he has 4 wins. 4 wins leading the league in ERA this season. That's absolutely insane. If I were him, I'd be requesting a trade at this moment. I know they're going to offer him $800 million at some point, but I hope he runs Pittsburgh because that's just a terrible situation. It's sad what's happening to him. That being said, I'm going to go with Zach Wheeler. Simply, he's on a better ball club. It's that simple. He also is second in the league in quality starts behind only Logan Webb in San Francisco. He's having a great year. He's up there in whip and Ks and wins and just about every statistical stat you can think of. And I just think he's going to be on either the best or second best team in the NL when it's all said and done, and the kind of year he's having. I don't think anyone's going to take him. But again, there's an argument for Schemes. There's an argument for Logan Webb, who of course leads the league in quality starts. There's a lot of good pitchers in the National League. Listen, Boyd in Chicago over there, I think Chicago could end up being the National League champ. So if they do that and he's the best pitcher on that team and wins, let's say 20 games or something like that, he has an argument. He has a case. There's no doubt about that. But I'm going to go Zach Wheeler in the NL, and I'm going to go Tariq Skubal in the AL. Home Run Derby is next Monday. Like I said, I went to one of those. It is just a show to watch those guys send balls into orbit, man. It's absolutely fantastic. This year, it's in Atlanta. It's going to be fun. We've got a couple of superstars that have already put their name in the hat. Ronald Acuna is obviously the one to watch. I know he's coming back from injury. He doesn't have as many homers as the other guys, but he hasn't played as many games as the other guys. He's at home with something to prove. Look for him to make noise. My pick, though, is O'Neal Cruz. I don't think there's a guy in baseball that hits the ball further. The Aaron Judge fans are probably going to get mad at me, but this guy sends balls into orbit. I mean, you need a Visa or a NASA ship to catch one of his shots. I think coming from Pittsburgh, being the big guy, the new guy to this event, I think he's going to show out, and I think you could see something similar to what Mark McGwire did over there in Boston when he just put on an absolute clinic. It was insane. He was sending balls out of the stadium clearly. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but that was just a whole lot of fun. And I think O'Neal Cruz is on his way to do that kind of thing right now. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the All-Star game is the All-Star game. We're not going to talk too much about that just because all All-Star games in sports have kind of lost their luster. We were doing the winner gets home field advantage in the World Series, and I thought that helped a little bit, but I believe we went away from that last year. So with that not counting anymore towards World Series home field advantage, I just don't know the quality of the game you're going to get. It'll still be a lot of fun to see the stars play, but there's no need to really discuss that. Now, contenders and pretenders. There's so many teams that are kind of bunched up in the mix right now. I mean, there's teams hovering around 500, 10 games over 500, 5 games under. I don't know. But the point is they're all bunched. There's a lot of quality teams. No one really stands out. There isn't a team in baseball right now that you look at and you say, wow, they're just by far the most dominant team in the league. I don't think anyone would beat them. There's no one like that. I mean, you see the Dodgers right now are on a 6-game losing streak. Their payroll is $350 billion or whatever. I know it's $300 million, but it's insane. They've got the biggest payroll in all of sports, and they've lost 6 in a row. They've kind of stumbled a little bit. They don't have the pitching. They just don't. And I know we can talk about the injuries. Obviously, Glass now being out, Blake Snell being out, Yamamoto just had a bad start. So there's definitely been some misfortune going on over there in LA. But at the same time, listen, they just don't have the pitching. Their bullpen isn't good at all. I think they have an ERA over 450 right now. So I'm not completely sold on LA. Obviously, they'll be there at the end. They lead the league in RBIs. They're second in the league in home runs. They can mash. They got Mookie, Freddie, Ohanti. I could go on forever. The star power there is bigger than Hollywood. So we're not going to do that. But they're definitely in the mix. But the Phillies and Cubs, to me, are the 2 teams you're going to have to watch. I think the Phillies have an exceptional rotation. As we all know, pitching wins championships in baseball. There's no way to argue that. So I really like what the Phillies are doing over there. They got Bryce Harper. They got Schwartz. They got Trey Turner. They've got a plethora of stars as well. And the biggest thing with both those teams, they both win on the road. again, like I said, there's a lot of teams bunched up, a lot of teams close. That home field advantage is going to come down probably to the last week of the season. Only one team can get it. So the other teams are going to have to win road games, and there are only 3 teams in the NL that have winning records on the road: the Chicago Cubs, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Philadelphia Phillies. And out of those 3 teams, one of them is going to come out the NL. I'm going with the Chicago Cubs. Not the most popular pick, but they've got the GM of the year right now. I mean, the moves they've made over the last 2 years are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, so sorry. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Kyle Tucker obviously was a huge move. He's a huge name. He's a huge bat. He's fit in perfectly. Crow Armstrong from the Mets for basically nothing has been probably the pickup of the year. This guy could be 40-40 this year. He's come out of nowhere and just elevated his game to superstardom. I think he's one of the best players in the game this year. They've got a great top of the staff. I've already talked about Michael Boyd, who I think has a shot at winning Cy Young. Shoto Amanga has an ERA sub-2. He's having a great year. There's a lot of arms there. They've got the bats. Michael Busch at first base. I mean, let's talk about Michael Busch. This guy's come out of nowhere. He is quietly, very quietly having one of the best years at first base this season, hitting 300, 15 homers, 50-plus RBIs. He could be a 330 home run, 100 RBI guy. You add him with Tucker and those guys, and listen, they're as good as anyone. They're my pick right now. Don't sleep on the Phillies and the Dodgers. They'll be close. The American League is a little more interesting. Obviously, the popular pick would be the Detroit Tigers. They've got the best record. They've got the best pitcher. They've got a bunch of guys. And you know what? I'm going to take the Detroit Tigers. I'm just going to go ahead and jump on that bandwagon because who's been better all season? There's no one. They've got Flaherty. They've got Tariq Skubal. They've got one of the top 5 bullpens in baseball, and the bats are insane. Torkelson's having a great year. You know, Gleyber Torres is back out of nowhere. He's woken up. Javi Baez has he's an all-star. He's an all-star. This is a guy we had forgotten about. He had a couple bad years. People were talking about shipping him out, and he is now an all-star in second base or at center field, which is not his natural position. He's naturally a second baseman, shortstop. So to see him out there in center doing his thing, all-star performance, shouts to that, man. He's so much fun to watch. And I spoke about this, my first podcast. You guys can go back and check it. I said the Detroit Tigers were my pick in the Central, and I said it would be keyed on Gleyber Torres and Javi Baez turning the clock back and going back to being the guys that we know they can be, guys that they were in New York and Cleveland. And we know what these guys can do. Were superstars at one point. They had kind of faded into irrelevance, if you will, but they've resurged, and they're a big reason that team is right there. Like I said, Riley Green can mash, Torkelson. They've got a top 5 bullpen. I'm going Detroit. They're going to have home field in the playoffs, so I don't see anyone beating them. Now, if there's an outside shot for a team, Houston Astros. Houston Astros lead the league in batting average. They have great top of the staff rotation. They've got, Valdez and Blanco and those guys who can pitch really well. Hunter Brown has a legit shot. If Tariq Skubal were to suffer an injury or somehow fade, which I doubt, because like I said, he's the most automatic pitcher in baseball right now and only pitching better as the year goes. But Hunter Brown has a sub-2 ERA. He's having a phenomenal year, and he's a guy with Blanco and Valdez and that lineup, like I said, who's first in the league in batting average. They could make some noise. Just like in the NL, it's the same thing in the AL. The 3 teams I'm looking at all have the same thing in common. They win on the road. They're the only 3 winning records in the American League. And at the end of the day, only one team can get home field. So someone's going to have to win on the road. If anyone can do it, it's probably Houston. There's an outside shot for a team like Seattle, New York. Teams like that could possibly do it, but I'm going to take Detroit, no doubt. Now, as far as contenders, pretenders, these are going to be kind of unpopular. Obviously, we've just talked about the best teams. We're not going to discuss them. They're obviously contenders. We're going to talk about teams that are kind of fringing somewhere there in the middle. And we'll start with my team. And I know everyone's going to hate this. You're going to say that I'm just biased, but I've never been biased a day in my life. I've ripped my guys on my teams plenty of times on this show. I've ripped my teams all over anywhere. You can ask any of my friends or family. I have no problem saying bad is bad and good is good. But the Boston Red Sox on a 6-game winning streak right now, tearing the cover off the ball. Everyone in that lineup is hitting. It's the best and deepest this lineup has been all year. We just got Yoshi back from the DL. Breggs is literally weeks away, I'm hearing, and we already saw what he was doing the first couple months of the year before he went down with the injury. He was having an MVP caliber season, worth every penny we gave that man this offseason. And I really think with Breggs and Yoshi back, we might have one of the deeper lineups in this league. The starting rotation, Gary Crotchet, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's having a Chris Sale type year. He leads the league in Ks. He's got 9 wins. His quality starts are insane. I mean, he's a bona fide Cy Young candidate, like I said. Giolito, though, he's the wild card. I said at the beginning of the year, he was the guy. We offered him some money. He's always been kind of middle of the range, but if he could figure it out and kind of come into his own this year and be as electric as I know he could be and fill in that number 2 spot, this would be a guy that could really propel us. His last 6 starts, 6 innings plus, 2 runs earned or less. He's on a phenomenal tear right now. Brian Bello just struck out 12 and had his first complete game last week against the Rockies. So not even last week, it's like 5 days ago, but anyway. But he's heating up, and if he falls into that number 3, we have a top 6 bullpen in baseball. Like I said, one of the deepest lineups that we've seen. And so if that starting pitching could get going, because that's really been the thing lacking this year, we're as good as anyone. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't care what anyone thinks. The New York Yankees are the New York Yankees. I really hate talking about those guys, as you all know, as a Red Sox fan. But Max Fried, he was my kind of wild card at the beginning of the year for the Yankee season. I really thought that if he could become the Max Fried that he was before the injuries in Atlanta, they had a bona fide ace. If Garrett Cole didn't go down, they might have had the best 1-2 punch in baseball. Obviously, Cole went down. That changed some things, but Fried has been every bit what they hoped he'd be. He is a top of the staff kind of guy. He's a guy who's going to be in the Cy Young conversation. I don't think he wins it, but he's in there. The lineup is the caveat. I worry about that lineup. We know what Aaron Judge is going to do. He's the best player in baseball, like I said, but Jazz Chisholm's going to have to be there. Stanton, we still haven't seen him, so we don't know what he's going to be at. They just designated DJ LeMahieu for assignment. He was a batting champion not that long ago, and now that guy's going to be playing, for the buzz down there in the minor league, so who knows what's going to happen with that. But they just don't really have the bats consistently. We've seen them throughout the year have 6-7 game losing streaks where they just don't hit the ball. Heck, at one point they went like every 6 games where it felt like they didn't score at all. So they also have problems at the back end of that bullpen. I'm not sold on the Yankees, so I'm going to say they're pretenders. I'm sorry. I really am. I'm going to say that as a pretender. I think they will fade as the year goes by. And if Aaron Judge goes down, that team free falls to last in the division. Kansas City. Kansas City was a really good team last year, and they just haven't quite been there this year. Now, they do have a top 5 ERA, a lot of really good pitchers. So, and obviously, the shortstop is one of the best players in the league. I absolutely love Bobby Witt Jr. I think he is just showtime box office, so much fun to watch. But they need a lot. They're struggling in the pen. Their lineup doesn't produce runs. They're a little bit under 500 right now. Pretender. Texas, they've got one of the best ERAs in baseball, one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. Their lineup is decent enough that they should be good. They're kind of trailing, Seattle and Houston out there in the West. I have them as pretenders as well. Seattle. Now, this is a second-place team right now, and in my opinion, probably one of the best second-place teams in the league, definitely in the American League. I think they're legit. I think they're a contender. I know they're a bunch of games back from Houston right now, kind of teetering on that wild card. Like I said, they have one of the top 5 rotations in the league. They got J-Rod, who's an absolute superstar in this league. They've got Cal Raleigh, who's having one of the most prolific seasons at catcher we've ever seen. I mean, this is Mike Piazza on steroids. He's basically somewhere between Mike Piazza and Barry Bonds. He has 36 home runs at the break. That's a record for a catcher, and it's only 3 off Barry Bonds' record-setting pace of 39 in the first half. And he's still got a couple of games left. If Aaron Judge were to suffer any kind of setback or injury, Cal Raleigh is your MVP. But Aaron Judge probably doesn't, so I think it's still going to be Judge. Seattle, though, contender. Put it down. In the NL, like I said, we've already talked about the top team, so we're going to go ahead and go with Milwaukee. Contender. I'm sorry, they're just not good. Their young players haven't elevated the way you would think. The pitching staff's been all right, but it hasn't been that good. I don't know what's going on with Freddie Peralta. He doesn't look exactly the same. don't really have the bullpen. I just like that team. I just don't think they're going to go very far. I know they're in second place right now, 8 games over 500, so they're not horrible, but pretender. San Francisco. Shouts to the Bay, by the way. That's where most of my family is, so I really love those guys over there. But I think that's a phenomenal baseball team. I don't know what's going to go on with the Rafael Devers thing. I mean, you're seeing what's happening over there. There's already drama. It's the same drama he had in Boston that got him shipped out of there. So I don't know what that situation entails, but regardless of him, they've got Logan Webb, who's having one of the premier pitching seasons of anyone this year. He leads the league in quality starts. Like I said, he's got 9 wins. He's up there in strikeouts. They got a great pen. They've got a bunch of hitters who kind of hit for average. They don't hit for much power, but hits for power. They don't hit for much average. I think they're hitting 231 as a team, which is 6th worst in the league right now. So I'm still going to go contender. There's something about that Giants team. It's been a thing for years now. They always make second half runs. Anytime you think you want to count them out, they just surge. They understand how to play the game of baseball, and they've got a chance. Sure. I mean, they were up there the first few months of the year. They just kind of tailed it. San Diego's an absolute contender. And that's crazy to say it for a 3rd place team, but that's the best division in baseball right now, especially top 3 teams. I don't think there's a better division. But San Diego is absolutely for real. They just got Yu Darvish back. We already know what he's going to do at the top, you know. They've got for Tatis, they've got Machado, they've got Cromwell, they've got all these bats that can do it. Their bullpen's pitching well. Luis Ariza obviously is one of the elite title type guys. So they're legit. I honestly could see the Padres making a run. Last year, they were that close. I really thought that they were going to be able to pull it out against the Dodgers. They weren't able to. They fell a little short, but look out for them because they have a real shot this year. Trade deadline's coming up. I think we have about 2 or 3 weeks until the baseball trade deadline. I could see a lot of teams making moves. The aforementioned Boston Red Sox, my boys over there, like I said, deepest lineup in baseball. And for that reason, don't be surprised if one of those guys is moved. There's just too many guys and not enough positions on a baseball field for all of them to get the playing time that they want. I wouldn't be surprised if we tried to ship someone and get another arm, or maybe add a power bat since we don't hit many home runs. The Mets have to be looking for outfield help. By the way, I didn't even discuss the Mets, but let me tell you something. Contenders and pretenders. I know, Omar, you're going to be mad at me. Sorry, bro. I love you anyway, but pretenders, man. This is a team that just understands self-destruction better than the Taliban. I mean, these guys know how to just blow things up at the end. I don't know what it is. I mean, we've seen it year after year after year. This is a team that at one point had a 9-game lead in the division with like 2 weeks left a few years back and still found a way to choke away that division title. They always come up small when it matters the most. They fade at the end, and they'll find a way to do so again, unfortunately. But off the Mets and back to free agency, because not free agency, trade deadline talk, because like I said, there's definitely going to be some moves. There's definitely some teams that need to do something. The Dodgers have so much money. There's no way they stay dormant right now. They're struggling. They know they need to find some help there. I could see them trying to get another arm, possibly getting some bullpen help because they need a plethora of that. The San Francisco Giants need a bat. It's that simple. They signed Rafi Devers, but like I said, we don't know what all that drama going on right now is going to happen. What's going to just turn into fruition? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Is he going to be disgruntled? Is he going to play well? Is he going to play terrible? I don't really know what's going to happen with Rafi, and that was supposed to be the bat that answered all the problems. So if it's not him, they definitely need a bat. 231 in the playoffs ain't going to do it. Remember, when you get to the playoffs, every team's got 2 or 3 really good pitchers because you're talking the best teams in the league. Pitching wins championships, of course, but you got to have guys who can come up with big hits, and they just don't really have anyone in that lineup that scares you. They've got some good guys, but no one great. The Yankees are the Yankees. They're going to make moves. They always make moves. They need everything. They need a bat. They need an arm. They need bullpen. They need a manager. They need Jesus Christ. I don't know what's going on over there in New York. They can't seem to get consistent, but they'll definitely be active. They always are. That's why I can't stand those guys. Texas is an interesting team because they've got one of the best ERAs in baseball and one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. I think Jason DeGrom is having a go-back kind of year. You know, he looks like the Jason DeGrom of old over there in the Mets. So if they can get some bats over there, pick up the hitting a little bit, they have a chance to make a second half run for sure. So look for them to be active for sure. San Diego, we know loves to spend money. They've been very active the last few years. That's how they've garnered all those superstars that they have in that lineup. Look to them to try to get some bullpen help and possibly add another arm. We don't know if Yu Darvish is going to be completely back. Like I said, he just recently came back, but if he goes down again or if he struggles, they definitely need another pitcher. There's just so much pitching in the National League, so they need some help there. I'll stop boring you guys now because I know there's like 19 people in the country that care about baseball, although the numbers are up, ages 18 to 34, so I'm glad to see it. I hope baseball comes back. It's our pastime, it's our game, and it should be more appreciated than it is. But we'll go to basketball. I know you guys love hoops. There's been a lot of things going on in basketball while I've been gone. The biggest news, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. It's now his, I guess technically sixth franchise. It depends on how you look at that OKC Seattle thing. Obviously, Seattle became OKC, so if you count that as two, it's six franchises. If you don't, it's five franchises. But either way, he's been moved around quite a few times. I think he just landed in the perfect spot. Houston was one of the best teams in the West last year. They have the defense. They didn't give up any of the big pieces to get them. They kept Amen Thompson. They kept Sengun in the middle. They have all those guys. Now they add the only thing they lacked last year is one of the top defensive teams that just couldn't get a bucket when it matters. They add the best pure score to ever play this game. That's right, to ever play this game. I'm looking at you, Paul Pearson. I'm going to get at you in the Lions Den. Ridiculous statement you made the other day. But anyway, Kevin Durant is the best pure scorer. He is a killer. We saw what he did in Golden State when the lights were the brightest. He absolutely dominated and owned LeBron James in every way possible, scoring at will. He's a guy who you can give the ball to, clear out, and get you a bucket. And that was all Houston lacked. They immediately jumped to one of the contending teams in the league and possibly my favorite in the West. We'll wait till all the free agents and trades and all that stuff and we get closer to training camp. But they're definitely a team I'm looking at right now. So look at Houston. Jalen Green got shipped in that deal. He ended up in Phoenix. I don't know how I feel about that. Jalen Green is obviously a superstar possibility. But again, I think Houston got tired of waiting for that possibility. Very inconsistent. He's up and down, but he's also super young. We've seen what's happened with teams that gave up on players just a tad too early. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, obviously champion just now, MVP, just had one of the great all-time seasons in NBA history. We remember when the Clippers shipped him for almost nothing. Obviously, that was a mistake. Tyrese Halliburton, we saw the Kings ship him to Indiana. All he's done is lead the Pacers to back-to-back Eastern Conference championships and the finals this year. And by the way, salute to that man. Anyone who was happy to see him go down, go drink bleach right now. You disgust me as a human being. This guy left it all on the court. He was suffering a calf injury. He could have easily sat down. We've seen LeBron and guys like that sit down with cramps. Instead, he stepped up for his team. He stepped into the biggest game of his life, left it all on the line, and I was absolutely mortified to see him go down with that Achilles injury. We've got to figure this out, man. These Achilles injuries are getting terrible. We know KD went through it. We know Kobe went through it. Just this year alone, Dame, Jason Tatum, and Tyrese Halliburton tore the Achilles. I hate to see it. It's just such a devastating injury. It takes so long to come back from. Oddly, it's one of the injuries I can't speak on personally. I've pretty much torn everything you can tear in your legs, but I've never torn an Achilles, but I hear that it's just a long road. We already know Tyrese is going to miss all of next season. So in the end, probably won't be the same. I hope Jason Tatum doesn't miss as long. Obviously, he got hurt a little earlier, so did Dame Lillard. So hopefully those guys come back. But yeah, I just don't know. If Jalen Green can do what those guys did. Like I said, they got traded young. Teams gave up on him a little too early, and they rose to superstardom. He goes over there now and joins Devin Booker and those guys. And if he can jump his game, elevate to some kind of superstardom, that team has a chance to be really good finally, because they've been trying to be good for the last few years, and they just haven't done it. Bradley Beal didn't work out. Kevin Durant didn't work out. It hasn't worked out for a lot of those guys, but if Jalen Green can work out, it's a really good ball club over there. My Boston Celtics have been pretty active and not in the best way. We lose Drew Holiday. We lose Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps goes to Atlanta. Drew goes over there to Portland. I know we got our Fernie Simmons in that deal, and I really like the kid. Listen, he's young. He averages 20 points a game. He gives us another scorer. We already know we're going to play defense. That's what we do. That's what we have done for a very long time now. But our Fernie gives you another scorer, another guy who can beat people off the dribble, another guy who can get his own shot. So I like it. Though I hear possibly looking to ship him. And if they do that, then you basically lost Drew Holiday for nothing. I wouldn't understand that. Kristaps Porzingis, that one didn't hurt me as much. I mean, I love Kristaps. Obviously, he was instrumental in that championship run we had a couple years ago. He was one of the bright spots of the team, but he just doesn't play enough. Last year, he wasn't on the court nearly enough, and when he came back in the playoffs, I know he was going through an illness. I don't know what exactly it was. Heck, Boston doesn't know what the heck it was. He doesn't know what it was. We're still wondering, but it took his game from him. He didn't look anywhere near the same. He wasn't the rim protector he was. He wasn't the scorer he was. He just doesn't play enough. At least Georges Niang, while he isn't near the defender Kristaps Porzingis is, he's a shooter, he's a scorer, he's a guy who has playoff experience, he's a good role guy, so I didn't mind that deal at all. DeAndre Ayton goes to the Lakers. Listen, center has been probably the thing they've been lacking since AD got shipped off. I thought that they were very soft in the middle. That's why I didn't really have them very high, even though they had Luka and LeBron and those guys. I thought they needed big man help. DeAndre Ayton gives them that. So they've definitely elevated to, I'd say, 4 or 5 top teams in the West. I'm not really sure yet. Like I said, we'll see as things get closer, but I do like that move for them in the LeBron James probably final tour. I don't see him playing past this year, but who knows? He might want to stick around for his other son to join the NBA. It's very possible. The Bucks added Miles Turner. Listen, with him and Giannis down there in the middle, one thing we know for sure, they are going to block shots. He also gives them another spacer. They obviously lost Lopez, so they needed a big man who could step out to open things up for Giannis. I think it makes them a little better. I was upset, however, what they did to Dame. Dame's one of my top 3 players in the NBA as far as like fan favorites of mine. I love the guy. He can rap his ass off, play ball. He's one of the great fathers in the league. And to cut a guy after he tears his Achilles, I just didn't understand it. I thought they brought him there to team him up with Giannis and make this dynamic duo. And instead they just give up on him after an injury. I think they did him dirty. I'm really excited to see where he ends up. Lots of talks filtering that he might be coming to Boston. Oh my God, would I love that. He comes to Boston, I'm getting that jersey the day he signs. I would be absolutely ecstatic if he joined us, especially in a role where he wouldn't have to be the top guy. You got JB, you got JT, you got Derek White, you got Peyton, you got so many guys that can take the stress off of him. He could just kind of come off the bench, play his role, play his game, and the sky's the limit for that team if they can grab Dame. The Denver Nuggets traded Michael Porter Jr., that project they finally gave up on. I mean, listen, Michael Porter was instrumental in their championship run, and he's a really good basketball player, but he's tough to trust as far as health. You just never know how often or how long you're going to have Michael Porter in the season, and I think Cam Johnson is a phenomenal two-way player, the kind of guy who can really help Joker and Jamal Murray and those guys. He can run, he can score, he can stop people. He's a fantastic pickup, and I think that's going to be huge. Another big pickup, Norman Powell going to the Heat. I know that doesn't seem like a huge pickup. He's not like this, gigantic name in basketball, but if you're a true hoop fan, you know who Norman Powell is. You know what he brings to the table. In LA, when they were missing those guys over there and he was plugged in the starting lineup, he averaged over 20 points a game. Coming off the bench, he's just as electric. He's a guy who's going to give you 18 to 20, something like that. He's going to be active on the defensive end, and I love Norman Powell. He obviously goes to the Miami Heat. That culture just seems to just elevate everyone's game. I don't know what it is about those guys. They figured something out in the water or something, or maybe it's the cocaine in Miami. I don't know, but for some reason, guys just seem to really love to play there. They just seem to really jump into a different stratosphere, especially defensively for some reason. So Norman Powell's a huge pickup. It doesn't put Miami in like a contending spot, but it definitely makes them a lot better. Once again, my favorite part of the show. God, I have missed this. This is the Lion's Den, proving once again I'm not biased because I'm going to go in on one of my guys. Paul Pierce, the so-called truth is spreading fallacies. It's unbelievable. He called himself the best pure scorer to ever play the game of basketball. I've never heard such an audacious comment. This guy is delusional as a single mother with 3 baby daddies saying she deserves a high quality man. Get the F out of here. I mean, this guy isn't even the best scorer of his generation. He wasn't probably the best scorer on our championship Boston team. I don't know what the heck he was thinking saying that. I mean, the guy didn't average 20 points per game in his career. He didn't shoot 50% from the field. In fact, he didn't shoot 45% from the field. He didn't shoot 40% from 3. He shot 36%. And even at the free throw line, they're free. 80% isn't anything to write home about. I don't know what he's thinking. He's absolutely out of his mind. I love Paul Pierce. I love everything he did for Boston. I love that he weathered all those bad years, stuck it out, eventually got a good enough team, and brought the chip back to Titletown. But I'm sorry, bro. I don't know if those stab wounds back in 2000 nicked your brain or cut off oxygen or something, or you're just smoking loud packs in Cali now that you're in retirement, but there is nothing to support the statement that you were the best pure scorer to ever play the game. I mean, there was nothing about you that was moving. You were a great basketball player, don't get me wrong. 10 times you were an all-star. You never were first-team All-NBA. You did have 4 selections, a couple thirds, a couple seconds, and that's all good and dandy, but you never won an MVP. You never won a damn scoring title. How can you be the best pure scorer in history and you don't have a single scoring title to your damn name? That's absolutely insane. I mean, I've got a beer in my hand down here that has more hops than he had. The guy had the athleticism of a janitor. There was nothing aesthetically pleasing about his game. Did he score? Yeah. He averaged over 20 a few times, but there was just nothing that made you think he could make that kind of a statement. It was absolutely ridiculous. You need to just talk ball and leave your name out of conversations that you have no business in, my friend. Get the F out of here. Secondly, this one hurts, man. This is a guy that I loved, and more as the years go by, I just continue to just lose more and more affinity for, and that's Will Smith. Has there ever been a fall from grace like this? I mean, we haven't seen a guy fall from grace like this since Lance Armstrong. What happened to this guy? Did y'all see that newest music video? It was the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. I'd rather listen to Slim Jesus and 6ix9ine on repeat than play that garbage you were spewing out of your mouth. Some sesame-ass rhymes with Simpson characters behind you making raw sounds. I don't know what was going on, man. It's terrible what's happened to him. I mean, I think you just need to take all that money, hit an island with August Alsina, run trains on Jada, and just disappear, because nobody wants to see you. No one wants to hear you anymore, man. You're a joke. I mean, we already knew from everything that's happened recently in the past that you're a mixed breed somewhere between cuck and simp. But now you're putting out the worst raps I've ever heard in my life, man. I work with 9 guys at an all-white place that could absolutely torch you on a mic. It's the worst thing we've seen done to a mic since the Buster Douglas fight. Like, it was awful. Just go somewhere, man. Stop rapping, stop acting, get out of the media, get out of the limelight. It's over for you, my friend. You are done. That's all we have for the Rec Room today. Thanks for tuning in as always. I had a lot of fun. Keep tuning in. I keep enjoying this. I keep doing it, and I do it for y'all, man. So see y'all next time.